Besides just casual mentions and Easter eggs, we have all been awaiting to see how long it would take Disney and Marvel Studios to start using some of the bigger named assets in their acquisition of Fox. And of course, as it turns out, Loki recently did just that by introducing one of the biggest pieces of IP that Fox owned that they never themselves utilized because Fox. So with James Gunn being featured in a lot of media recently because of the hype up to his next comic book film, there's been a lot of people posting older articles and interviews of him talking about dream projects and some of the characters he loves and things he would love to do and characters he would love to use. And all the way back in 2015, he was asked by fans in regards to some of the characters that could appear in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And multiple fans asked him if there was a possibility of introducing the Shi'ar Empire or Kang the Conqueror in Guardians 2 or in the MCU, specifically with, at the time, Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2. And he said, and I quote, "Shi'ar and Kang are both owned by Fox. All decisions about who is in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 were made a long time ago." End quote. Now, of course, it's been a while since we've gone over a history lesson in regards to how it relates to Kang the Conqueror and Fox and what they own, because it's not really important anymore. But back at the time, Fox, when they bought up all the Fantastic Four and X-Men and all that, they got certain elements of certain characters, but not the entirety of the characters. For example, Kang the Conqueror, Kang the version of Kang, named Kang, was a part of the Fox element. And the use of time travel related to that character and those ideas and assets were all a part of Kang the Conqueror being under Fox. Rama Tut, for example, and other versions of the character not related to anything Fantastic Four or anything like that were grandfathered into the MCU because they owned those elements that were outside of the Fantastic Four and some of those other connective pieces, like Rama Tut, for example, is why they owned things like that. So when you look at that, and if you look at the history of it, this is another one of those things that falls in line with like Namor, for example, where Universal owned a piece, Marvel owned a piece, and Fox owned a piece because he was the first mutant for a while, and he is a mutant, but there was different contractual things in different times where that was addressed. So it's one of those situations, and the fact that we now have Kang, who is appearing in Ant-Man Quantumania, but he appeared in Loki, means that Loki made big history here because it's the first big character that Fox owned that is actually appearing in live action in multiple roles and multiple different versions, just like in the comics, because they own everything related to that character now, including the connection to the Fantastic Four, the likes of Apocalypse, and even the Eternals, for example, which that's a whole different story not worth talking about right now.